Who should Manchester United sign at right back? The young Englishman who is similar in style to Alphonso Davies, the converted winger producing top level offensive output, an underrated Italian fullback, or the Brazilian who was co-owned by Barcelona? But before I get into the analysis, let me tell you about the OneFootball app, because this is the app I use to keep up to date with the latest circulating transfer rumours, and I find the match section on the app incredibly useful as well for looking at matches, clubs and players that I'm not able to watch on a regular basis. If you like this channel, you'll definitely love this app, so when you go to subscribe to the channel, if you enjoy the content, which would be very much appreciated, make sure you click the link in the description to get the OneFootball app as well. So this is the 5th episode in my Who Manchester United Should Sign series. Episode 1 looks at who United should sell, episode 2 and 3 look at the positions that United need to improve, and episode 4 looks at the centre back that United should sign. All of those episodes can be found linked in the playlist in the description below and in the eye above. In this episode I'm going to quickly recap what United need from a new right back before looking at a few different options, and at the end I'll narrow it down to my top 3 right back targets for United and specify which player I think United should pursue as their main target. So Solskjaer currently only has one right back option at his disposal, and that is Aaron Wenbasaka. Wenbasaka is a very good fullback. Defensively, he's arguably the best in the world, particularly when it comes to defending in one-on-one situations, either in the channel or around the box. However, Wenbasaka does lack the technical ability to progress the ball forward and the end product in the final third. This can be seen as this season he's completed just 0.8 key passes per 90, the 22nd most of any fullback in the Premier League, as well as recording only an expected assist rate of 0.07 per 90. These aren't terrible metrics, but when we see that Luke Shaw has recorded 2.5 key passes per 90, as well as an expected assist rate of 0.23 per 90, we can see the difference between an elite offensive fullback and a decent offensive fullback. And Manchester United, if they want to be competing for the Premier League title, need to be looking to improve every position that they can't consider to be at an elite level at the moment. United also need depth, if anything, in the right back position, as having a player who could also play the role of a wing back would also aid United, as they currently only have 2 options in that role if they decide to use a 3 at the back system, and they are Wenbasaka and Daniel James, neither of who you would consider natural wing backs. Now United do have 2 potential options currently at the club, and they are Ethan Laird, who is currently on loan at MK Dons, and Diego Dalot, who is on loan at AC Milan. As I said in episode 1, I do think that Dalot's loan to Milan was a mistake. Whilst he has played just over 2,000 minutes in all competitions this season, those appearances have mostly come in cup competitions, only 1,000 minutes played in Serie A, and around half of those appearances have been at left back. This has stagnated Dalot's development to a degree, and I think that next season he'd benefit from another season on loan, this time at a club where he's going to be the starting right back. Next summer United can then make their decision whether to hold on to Dalot long term or cut their losses, but I do think that a loan is going to be the most beneficial option for both parties. Ethan Laird is in a similar position. Whilst he could come into the United side now as a Wenbasaka backup, he's not at the elite level that United need, and I think that if United could loan him out next season as well to a championship club most likely, then he will improve significantly and could come into the United side next summer as one of the best young English right backs around. I spoke about this in more depth in the first episode of my series, so be sure to check that out after this video. So with my decision to loan out both Dalot and Laird, what are the preferred options for United in the right back position? So what I'll do is I'll go through a few options before at the end I'll give my first, second and third choices in terms of who United should target. The first 2 options I'm going to suggest are the 2 young English players, Max Aarons and Terry Calampte. Now both of these players are short, very agile and quick fullbacks who are very good progressors of the ball via their dribbles. I like Aarons, the better of the 2 fullbacks at the moment, being a better defender whilst also producing more output in the final third. Whilst Wenbasaka is quite clumsy in possession, Aarons is much better in terms of his close control dribbling and is a quicker passer, which would improve United's build up and interplay down the right side. Lamptey at the moment wouldn't be a great improvement on Wenbasaka offensively, which is why I wouldn't suggest him for United, but he is definitely one of the most promising fullbacks in Europe at the moment, and if he can refine certain aspects of his game, then he can easily become a player in the mould of Alphonso Davies. Both players would also be expensive, which is a deterrent. Aarons has a contract until 2024 at newly promoted Norwich, whilst Lamptey's deal at Brighton ends in 2025, which means that both players would probably cost in excess of £30 million. A cheaper option option for United would be Juan Cadrado, who was moved into a right-back position under Maurizio Sarri in 2019-2020 and has played around 20 games this season under Pirlo in that position. Offensively, Cadrado is as good as you get, completing 2.3 key passes per 90 whilst at right-back, the most of any fullback in Serie A, recording an expected assist rate of 0.41 per 90, the highest of any Juve player, and he completes 2.1 dribbles per 90, the fourth most of any fullback in the league as well, which all shows how good he is going forward. Defensively, he isn't as good as my other options, but he's still completing 2.2 tackles per 90, whilst only being dribbled past 1.5 times per 90, giving him a decent tackle success rate at around 60%. Obviously, being a converted winger, there are still some positional problems that can occur for Cadrado, but he has adapted well to the new position, and it's his incredible offensive output that makes up for his mediocre defensive ability, with probably only the likes of Luke Shaw, Alexander-Arnold, Robertson and Theo Hernandez being the only fullbacks putting out the same level of offensive output as the Colombian. His contract at Juventus expires next summer, so United could potentially get Cadrado for less than £10 million. He does turn 33 soon, but like someone like Dani Alves, I think Cadrado can still produce a high level of output from that fullback position, even as he approaches his mid-30s. Before I go any further, make sure you subscribe to my non-football channel, which will be linked in the description below. I will be uploading on there very soon. Also check out some of my other Manchester United videos, including my analysis of Donny van de Beek, as well as my analysis of the Champions League final and how Tuchel beat Pep Guardiola's Manchester City. Those videos will be linked in the description below as well. Now the next two options are probably the two that suit United best. The first is Emerson Royale, who is currently playing at Real Betis, but is co-owned by Betis and Barcelona, with both clubs paying £5 million each to bring him to Europe. According to reports, Barcelona have used the option of bringing Emerson back from Betis for a fee of around £10 million, which means that if United wanted to, then they could sign him from Barcelona, and he'd probably cost around £35 million. Emerson turned 22 in January and is the epitome of a modern day fullback. He is quick, powerful, an aggressive tackler and an explosive dribbler. Defensively, Emerson is solid, able to defend in one-on-one situations, rarely diving in and instead having the composure and anticipation to hold his ground before knowing when to either put in a tackle or put his body between the player and the ball to win it back. I think he is a level above Aarons and Calampte in terms of his defensive ability, and this can be seen as this season in La Liga, Emerson has completed 2.8 tackles per 90, the third most of any fullback in the league, whilst only being dribbled past 1.1 times per 90, giving him a very impressive tackle success rate of 71.7%. He would provide the explosive dribbling ability that United currently lack at right back, with Emerson able to receive the ball and race forward past opposing players, which should aid United against sides who either look to retreat behind the ball quickly or against sides who look to press United high, as if Emerson can beat the opposition presser in a defensive third, then this should open up the rest of the field, making it easier for United to play out of an aggressive press. Another main contender for my first choice right back option for Manchester United would be Napoli's Giovanni Di Lorenzo. Now on the surface, this does seem like a surprising choice. Di Lorenzo is 27-28 in August and has a contract at Napoli until 2025 and is not as explosive as Emerson, Calampte or Aarons. However, Di Lorenzo for me is one of the most underrated players in Europe. Defensively, Di Lorenzo isn't an improvement on Wenbasaka, but who is? But he is still a very good defensive fullback. He's quick to move out to close down a player in the channel, creating a 1v1, and doesn't dive in too early. Instead, he's able to hold his ground and put in a well-timed tackle when the chance presents itself. This tackling ability can be seen as Di Lorenzo has recorded 2.3 tackles per 90, the 7th most of any fullback in Serie A, whilst only being dribbled past 0.9 times per 90, giving him a tackle success rate of 71.8%. I think Emerson is definitely a better front foot defender in terms of moving out of the back line to apply pressure or make an interception, but overall Di Lorenzo is a better defensive fullback, both in terms of his one-on-ones and positional play. Also, he tends to sense danger around the box and he can move across to close off a potential dangerous opportunity. But a real area of improvement on Wenbasaka needs to be offensively, and this is what Di Lorenzo provides. Di Lorenzo has completed 1.4 key passes per 90 in Serie A this season, the 9th most of any fullback in the league, whilst also recording an expected assist rate of 0.17 per 90. Emerson's numbers aren't as impressive. He completes 1.1 key passes per 90, the 13th most of any fullback in La Liga, whilst also recording an expected assist rate of 0.10 per 90. Di Lorenzo would be an improvement on Wenbasaka in the final third, and this is because he is fundamentally a better player with the ball at his feet, able to quickly shift the ball past the overcommitted defender as he does here, and then having the composure and vision to see Insigne on the edge of the box and cut the ball back to the Italian, setting up the shooting opportunity. In terms of dribbling, both are pretty similar statistically to Wenbasaka. Wenbasaka completes 0.9 dribbles per 90, as does Di Lorenzo, with Emerson recording just below that with 0.8 per 90. Now I would say that despite looking statistically similar, Emerson is probably the best dribbler out of the bunch. Now when choosing between Di Lorenzo and Emerson, it is a hard one. Both players will likely cost around 30 to 35 million pounds, but Emerson is just 22 whilst Di Lorenzo is soon to be 28. If United were looking to sign a right back for the long term, then I would move for Emerson over Di Lorenzo, as I think if the Brazilian improves his vision and final cross, then he's going to be one of the best fullbacks in world football. However, right now Di Lorenzo is a better fullback both defensively and crucially offensively, and would instantly improve United's attack down that right side, providing greater crossing ability and interplay down the right. And Di Lorenzo wouldn't be cheap either, probably costing around £30 million, but United would definitely be getting a ready-made top-level fullback, both offensively and defensively. But after giving it some thought, I decided to actually go with Cadrado, as United don't exactly need a long-term right-back option at the moment. They need an alternative to Wenbasaka, who is considerably better going forward, and this is exactly what Cadrado would bring for a smaller fee than both Emerson and Di Lorenzo, and on a shorter-term contract. Cadrado at United for say 2 seasons would provide the elite attacking output from the right back position in games where United need to break down deep defensive units, whilst also giving Solskjaer a right wing back option should he choose to move to a 5-2-3 system that he has used before. And when Cadrado moves on, this will provide Laird and Dalot with the opportunity of coming into the United squad to compete with Wenbasaka for that first choice right back slot. So overall, my first choice right back option would be Juan Cadrado, who would likely cost around £10 million, with Di Lorenzo being a second choice option, likely costing around 30 to 35 million, and Emerson coming in at third, also costing around £35 million. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed that video, remember to subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you get notified when the rest of the episodes in this series come out. Give the video a like, check out the other episodes in this series and some of my other Manchester United and non-Manchester United videos, which will be linked in the description. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter as well for more content.